A gentle reminder that I am not the one. This is not my words. I'm just reading somebody else's. I have to issue an apology myself. I am very sorry. I'm going to have to curse at you a little bit. So if you are listening to this on speaker in a place where you don't want to hear cursing, if you are watching this with your children and they are not of age where your reasonable parental guidance suggests that they can listen to a few curse words in a court hearing, court filing, we are going to be reading some curse words. I'm going to avoid the N-word or anything that refers to a burdensome bundle of sticks or anything that is, otherwise we'll just say certain phobias. And I fully recognize that this will likely be demonetized on YouTube, but we'll just deal with that. We'll leave it up for review and see what YouTube has to say. The final version of this video should be bleeped out with various sound effects that Brandon has compiled. But so last warning, parental guidance suggested if you want to continue listening to this, I'm going to be cursing because this next story is a notice to f*** this court and everything that it stands for. Now, I need to be clear. I am just reading this for our educational and entertainment value. I do not agree with the f***ing of any court or everything that it stands for. I just want to be clear about that. I am a licensed attorney. I am technically an officer of the organization that is the court system, and it would be unethical and unprofessional of me to this court and everything that it stands for. I am just reading this because someone had the audacity to file this and make a judge and their clerk and staff, and now of course us, read this. So please consider that I am just a messenger here. As of Wednesday, April 15th, 2015, I am in receipt of the order dated 3/31, wherein the despicable Judge Willis B. Hunt Jr. has the audacity to attempt to dismiss this case based upon fallacious and irrelevant contentions that are without merit, of which he is absolutely aware. So far this sounds actually well written. Audacity, fallacious, irrelevant contentions without merit. There's an M- in there. This is decent. Firstly, Jason is my husband, as I have stated, you asshole. And my son is no longer an infant. He has grown into a strong, extremely intelligent, beautiful little boy. Don't you ever again in your motherfucking life attempt to disrespect me, my family, or our status again. Keep our names out of your unworthy mouth, you old, impotent geezer. And no, Jason did not sign the complaint. So the what? Is that really the best argument you can come up with after the many pages I have presented to this court as to why you cannot allow the matter to progress? LOL. What a joke you are, old man. What about the 100 plus pages of valid legal contentions that have been presented by plaintiffs before this court? You don't want to delve into those, do you? You don't want the American people to know about the fraud that your is helping pull on them. Ain't that right, f***ing bitch? You disgust me. And you mean to tell me that a mother cannot bring suit on behalf of her own child and no one finds this the least bit strange? This is what people think freedom and unalienable rights look like? God help us. Lord help us all. And the ellipses are even properly spaced. Space dot, space dot, space dot. The court takes judicial notice of blah, blah, blah. Yep, whatever. That's right. I had a cocked and fully loaded AK-47 assault rifle, as well as a .45 caliber pistol. What's your point? No, I was never convicted of anything. But you know what? They can go right ahead and try to convict me if they want to. I don't give a damn. This whole system is a joke. The United States of America have collectively and individually been politically and legally overthrown by foreign opportunists and domestic sellout bitches like you. Mitchell County officials will get their fucking feelings hurt if they even try me. I'm not playing with you or anybody else. F*** you all. How about that? Also, you genius, I never stated that I am not a citizen of any nation. Don't try to twist my words. I said that my family and I are the posterity of those who conquered this land and have thus inherited it from them, and that you citizens of the United States, as defined by the 14th Amendment to the U.S. Federal Constitution in 1868, have no rights to anything here. I said we are Floridian Americans, but our lawful state government has been overthrown by insurgent federal citizens of the United States like you. And now that 99.9% of Americans are ignorant as to our true identity and history, you traitors have tricked them all into identifying themselves as federal citizens. And you think this means you will get away with something? No, absolutely not. All that the people need is a proper education free of propaganda and lies, and I'm working on that. See attachment A, entitled Why Most Americans Do Not Inherently Owe Federal Income Taxes. Let me know if you want to write the introduction to my next publication. There are many more to come. Look here, old man, when I tell you I am justice. I meant it. It took me about 1 month to study the history of the world and to learn the history and inner workings of Americans' jurisprudence. Literally, I was born to do this here. Don't you know that your FBI and CIA have been trying to recruit me since grade school? LOL. But they're unscrupulous losers like you, so it won't be happening. Instead, I will educate the people, and hopefully one day, if we are lucky, they will rise up against you oppressive, lying traitors and hang you all for the crime you have committed against us all. What? You think because you sit up there in that little black robe hiding behind the ignorance of the masses like a little that anybody gives a damn about you or what you have to say? Well, just in case you haven't noticed, I couldn't give two fucks about you or what you have to say. You, old man. You're a joke. Your court's a joke. You take it up the and you suck nuts. LOL. A gentle reminder that I am not the one. This is not my words. I'm just reading somebody else's. For the last time, we have not asserted any civil rights pursuant to 42 U.S.C. 1983. Hey, you guys know that law, as that particular federal code section only applies specifically to federal citizens only, and we are not federal citizens. Answer me this, genius. If the original states were in existence before the federal government, with their own constitutional provisions for protecting their citizens' unalienable human rights, then why would state citizens need to claim protection for those rights under the federal constitution? They don't. That makes no sense at all. All rights claimed under 42 U.S.C. 1983 are those of federal citizens exclusively. Further, your stupid assertions regarding federal civil rights and their respective statute of limitations is flawed in this. It's not applicable and is outright stupid. In addition, a law person worth his salt would know about and respect legal principle concerning domicile, which dictates that you cannot apply the Williams versus City of Alabama 11th Circuit case from 1986 to us, the plaintiffs, because the parties to that case are domiciled in D.C., being that they are federal citizens of the United States federal government. Our domicile is right here in Florida. You're an idiot. You then end your fuckery by stating that the case is dismissed for good cause shown and in absence of opposition. However, you have not shown any cause, good or legally valid, and you know it. There is no applicable legal basis for your assertions, old man. All of your arguments are frivolous. You have presented federal rights and laws to defeat unalienable human rights and laws that supersede them both. What a shameful and stupid joke you are. Also, we have properly and flawlessly opposed, rebutted, and defeated the 60 pages of irrelevant and inapplicable contentions defendants have attempted to levy against us. But you don't even acknowledge that, huh? What a This court has undoubted...
You haven't read this part, right? This is...
No, I haven't read this.
We haven't read yet.
I haven't read this at all. This court has undoubtedly been showing us unprecedented favor to defendants. Has not said one word to us, the plaintiffs, since the filing of the original complaint more than 9 months ago, and now states that there was no opposition to defendant's motion to dismiss. What about the 100 pages of proper rebuttals and defendants that plaintiffs presented to this court? You've just completely disregarded them all, huh? I suppose you did the same thing in civil action number 14 CV 2703 too, didn't you, you Don't worry, I take it all as a compliment because I am well aware that the court has not spoken to me because it cannot defeat my legal arguments, so it runs and cowers like a panic-stricken that has stolen money from her backhanding pimp. Just for the record, you are a this court is a and I will backhand you both should you continue to waste my time. Let me ask you, do you really think I ever believed this court would give me a fair shot? Ha! No, I'm much too intelligent for that. Just know that this entire proceeding has served the purpose for which it was intended, and you played right into it in the exact way I intended for you to, like the dumb you are. The federal government was not created to replace a state government by any means. It was created to tend to matters that fell without the sovereignty of any one particular state. And having been oppressed by the King of Great Britain, is that what the founding fathers did? They went through hell and fought the war for independence just to relinquish their citizens to the federal government and set it up to be more oppressive than the King of Great Britain could ever have been. I think not. I think by definition, if you're writing this in 2015, you don't know what the King of Great Britain did to our people back then and what could have happened. But, okay. In fact, the people were so weary of something like this happening that it is the very reason the Federalist Papers were written, to convince the peoples of the several states that a weak and limited central Republican government to loosely hold them together was a good idea. By the way, if you're talking about political Republicans versus political Democrats, it was different back then. Their parties were actually reversed, more or less. Looks like the people were right to be weary of a federal, oversized, oppressive central government. I mean, look at this mess. The U.S. federal government is out of control. And this was 2015. This was before President Trump was president. The federal government currently taxes the people exponentially more than the British king could ever dreamed of doing. And people's human rights are being violated faster than you can say the phrase Willis B. Hunt Jr. is a I mean, I am not a oof that you are going to convince that these brilliant men intended for the federal government to wield power over the several states and their people as it presently does. This is not freedom, you jackass. This is slavery, worse than the history of the world has ever seen. Well, that I have contentions with. If the arguable situation for economic slavery that some people are in the U.S. Like, I'm not like, let's just be fair and not deny the argument exists. Is that level of quote unquote slavery better or worse than slavery that has been known in the history of humanity? Yeah, it's not worse. Any idiot can take a look into the history of American jurisprudence through studying congressional records, Supreme Court cases, and realize that the United States of America has been overthrown. The American people, due to their own neglect of civic duty and responsibility to educate themselves and their children, have allowed this to happen. I say all of this to say, Mr. Hunt, I don't give a damn about you or anything you have to say. You are a castrated coward and a disgrace to the United States of America. Fortunately to us all, you are in old age and presumably nearing the inevitable death that awaits all impotent geezers like yourself with a one-way ticket to hell, which is good. That's exactly where a treacherous, lying, spineless bastard son of a like you deserves to be for the rest of eternity. Burn. Lastly, I will be posting the entirety of these court proceedings online and disseminating them amongst the general population for the people to see this disgrace. You control nothing, you are nothing, and you can do nothing. You die. For the unrepresented plaintiffs, Ms. Tama Jada Clark, I guess I shouldn't be showing her address and information there. So she goes on, believe it or not, to write an official certificate of service for the plaintiff's notice to this court and everything it stands for. Apparently, she has written why most Americans do not inherently owe federal income taxes. It appears to be in the form of a scholarly article where I guess she claims that We don't need to pay taxes. And then there's some more documents in here that I'm not going to go over, because why? So the psychological concept of projection is at work here. If this judge clearly has no control and Mrs. Jada Clark, because she claims to be married, if Mrs. Jada Clark really thinks that the court has no power and that she doesn't have to respond and all that, why write it out? It is a response. It is frustration, and it has obviously not worked worked out the way that she intended to, and she's obviously frustrated. Not sure what effect this is supposed to have. I don't imagine that the Northern District of Georgia or Judge Willis B. Hunt are going to react to this in any way that would be favorable towards Ms. Clark or her husband or her case. So, it's one of those things. It's like, what was the point? But
what boggles me is that she has really good grammar.
Yeah.
And really good attention to the details, like you pointed out with the ellipses and stuff. And she uses
ellipses, em dashes, everything's consistent. There's hardly a phrase that doesn't make sense.
It is very clearly communicated, to be fair. What she's communicating is very passionate, let's say. But she does have a flair for writing. I have to give her that. I mean, I don't think she knows anything about taxes, but I kind of want to read her stuff on taxes now.
Yeah, we might go over that in a future video because that sounded fun. Technically, though, if she wrote the article, we can make criticism and commentary on it, but it's not like a court document where I can go through it word for word, unless all those words really are something that we're making criticism and commentary on. So that was a really weird last document. It's one of those that's sort of so ridiculous that you can at least sort of sit back and go, well, can't blame the judge for ignoring or handling this the way they handled it, whether it be contempt of court or whatever. I wonder if there is anything on that publication.
I just wish I could have seen the judge's face or her face when reading that.
Okay, so Tama Jada Clark won't apologize to Judge Willis B. Hunt. What I know to be true is a lot of people have been mistreated at the hands of different judges, and when they're ready to apologize, I'll consider apologizing. The suit was for $10 billion and named as defendants every single U.S. citizen in Georgia. It contested both her husband's arrest and her September 2010 arrest when police accused her of plotting to break her husband out of jail. She alleges that the judge directed clerks to stop sending communications to her and that the official court record has been altered against her.
Honestly, if I was a judge, I wouldn't even dignify it with a response.
Yeah, I wouldn't even hold her in contempt for it. Just to completely ignore her.
Yeah, just ignore it.
She can't get any more attention from it.
Yeah, I mean, people have a right to rage against the machine, and she's clearly not in a proceeding anymore. The judge made some kind of a ruling against her.
Yeah, it appears that most of the articles on it, you can simply type Tama Jada Clark contempt. Most of the articles on it appear to agree that it is contempt of court, but I don't see any articles following up that say that the judge did anything about it. If I was the judge, yeah, I would oscillate between either holding her in contempt, which would require a hearing, would require further interaction with her, or you simply don't. Case is dismissed. She lost her case. She acted out. She acted out under her own name, and it's obviously her name is now on the internet. And if anybody goes, hey, I'd like to hire Tama Jada Clark, they're going to find this document. So, punishment enough. You've done it to yourself.
Yeah, she hasn't threatened anybody, She hasn't. She's just said a few bad words.
having the loaded AK-47.
I think that was part of the material facts for the issue. I think there was a custody issue, and I think she was saying something about how the judge made a ruling based on her owning firearms, and she was saying, well, so what if I have a firearm? I don't think she was saying I have a firearm, come at me, judge. I think she was saying, just because I have firearms, I've never been convicted of anything. I shouldn't, my children shouldn't be taken away from my husband or whatever just because I have a lawfully acquired firearm. She could have been clearer about that, but for sovereign citizen language, that was fairly well written. Anyway, that's all I have for you today. Let me say the outro here and thank all of our Patreon supporters. This channel especially now with the 5th adpocalypse, this channel exists mostly due to your Patreon support. That money that you give us helps us buy equipment, helps us pay Tactical and Brandon, helps offset the time that I spend working on the videos. I apologize. Last week we didn't have the 4 videos that I thought because I screwed up the audio and didn't have a chance to reshoot at a very busy week. But that's just an anomaly. We expect that this week we'll be back to normal and doing 3 or 4 videos at least, no problem. So let's call Nico in here for a visit while I thank our $50 plus supporters on patreon.com/LJFrench. For the month of February, thank you very much to Jacob Papenfuss, who I forgot about last week, and I really apologize for that. Thank you to Jonathon Doe, Jonathan Steele, or just John Steele, Gavin Barnard, Eevi, Andy, Kyle Mudrak, Verement, Tayne, Michael Pearce, Terry Crisp, Richard Fournier, Spirit Bear, Jan Negrey, Daniel Perez, and of course again Jacob Papenfuss. And all of you are scrolling on the LED panel back there. We need to do some upgrades. We need to do some things like a new LED panel, maybe some green screen stuff. I have a short video that I want to write. It's a scripted video, or I want to finish writing and produce with all sorts of visuals and animations on it. So all this is very exciting. I think we still have to finish Cambridge Analytica and still have to finish Justin Rogers' video as well. And so I'm looking very much forward to getting all that finished shortly here as we are back to a more normal schedule, since I don't have to go to court last Friday or this coming Wednesday, and things are calming down. Anyway, love you all. I will look into Ewan's article about Chinese merchants and how I could take advantage of e-packets. I have a feeling it doesn't apply to me anyway. Lawful Masses sketch comedy is on the horizon. Believe it or not, I do have a local improv troupe that I used to be a part of, and we might be able to hire them as actors to reenact some of the more comedic situations that we find ourselves talking about. Keep that in mind, because I'm not done with this. This is not the plateau. This is not the final version. This is not my final form of the Lawful Masses legal education channel. I want to say YouTube channel, but it's more than just YouTube. Anyway, love you all. Give me a dog. I want a dog.
Ilsa? We haven't Ilsa on stream.
Come here, my Ilsa. Ilsa, hop. Ilsa, hop. Yes. You are. No, hop. You have to come hop. You have to come hop and say hi. No, don't jump on her. Nico, hop. Yes, there you go. Yay. So thank you for joining me, everyone. I'm gonna leave the stream without a musical outro, and that way Brandon can have a slightly easier time adding a musical outro later. Also, it saves me a step. So love you all. Have a great week. We will drop most of these videos this week, assuming that my audio is much better than it was last week. So have a great weekend, everybody. I'll see you in the videos and the Discord. Don't forget to join us on Discord as well. Love you. Bye.